This is a picture of Charlie Duke, Apollo 16 astronaut. So he's walking on the landscape. We'll enlarge the image in his visor. Obviously there's an astronaut taking a picture in the background, but there's something very bright and white there on the hill. It doesn't show much. Here's the discrepancy. I don't know what's going on here, but if we look at that area there, and I've enlarged it, you don't see anything in that photo. And you see the footprints. Obviously he goes around that very large hole, and you see his footsteps. Obviously this is a large photo coming from a buggy. He just walks around. There you can see the footsteps. He comes around this side and everything's fine. So on this picture everything looks normal, and there's a thing there. It just looks very shiny, but that's all you can see basically. Now let's go back to the original picture where it came from. Now when we look at that closer there, that object, it has its own shadow, and in that original picture when you enlarge it, the shadow's not there. That's what we're going to concentrate on. It seems as though the ones I've analysed and enlarged the pictures on, and there's one from a very good a video clip as well. So that's Charlie Duke, that's him there, and he was on Apollo 16. That's when they used a buggy. I haven't seen any videos of them actually screwing together the buggy, so I'm not sure how it actually fit in the space vehicle itself. So that was the Lunar EVA April. So let's go watch the original one. Well, this is that picture again, and it's actually clearer. This is from a video of the event. Now if you look at there, that object seems to be coming out of the ground. It has its own shadow and it's white. It's got it's like a growth. That's the peculiar part. On the other picture, it seems as though it's censored, but this is actually a actual video of it, and that's where we're going to magnify the image right there, and we'll see it looks very bizarre. The head looks like a praying mantis, and our body comes out of the soil. We see two pictures of it as it seems to come up, and then as it goes up higher. So I'll just go this very slowly, this reel. And you'll see down the bottom of this frame, because this is actually sort of like a video segment. It hasn't been censored. Right down the bottom near that rock, you'll see that little white thing come up there. It looks like some sort of growth or whatever, and I'll also magnify that picture. That thing up there could be a rock. It just looks bizarre how it comes up, but we won't focus on that much. And the bizarre thing is obviously that there. It seems that comes up, but in that clearer image which was posted on Wikipedia, that's not there. It seems to be totally obscured. The white seems to be a reflection, but here we actually see a body, a head, and everything coming out. So I'm not sure what happens there. And that picture which we analysed in the visor of the actual man standing and the shadow and the bright object, I'm not sure about that either. Let's go a bit forward. So that's it there. Just take down the volume. So it's bizarre, isn't it? So we'll start to analyse these pictures now. Well, that's what it looks like, and obviously that's taken from the last image, which seemed to be uncensored. So we've got something that seems to grow or come up out of that hole. It's got its own shadow, and we'll just try to adjust exposure to it, but it seems to be censored in the Wikipedia one, and that's the one I'll also enlarge. Okay, that picture's not that crash hot. We'll go to the next one. Again, same thing. It looks like obviously something was coming out of that hole. I don't think it was a digging implement left by him in the hole. It doesn't look obviously like a shovel or anything else. That's it there. It seems to be just coming out in that picture. We go further down. That's it there. That's the clearest picture I have of this. And here it seems to come really all the way up. It's sort of like turn its head up. See the little two dark things in the front? It just looks like the head of a praying mantis. Now, I'm trying to fiddle around with the contrast on this. Now, I'll then show the downloaded pictures of the picture that was there on Wikipedia. You'll see nothing of that. It seems as though someone selectively goes in and alters the resolution of the pixel and just cuts that image out and blurs it. It's very strange. I actually researched Charles Duke. There was the original picture on Wikipedia.
And this is how the object appears after it's enlarged from the original image that we found in Wikipedia, the enlarged one. It seems to be totally censored. Look at that. It's all been chopped up. There seems to be no form to it. The shadow is there still, but as you see, other things have been placed and chopped up and put in there to make it look like a rock formation. That's when I was actually quite shocked when I went accidentally and just Googled Charlie Duke, and then the article came up and I saw that same picture. Now if you look at that, it doesn't look anything like the one we have in the first one. You'll see a body that looks to be coming up. There's the rock shelf, and the head was right there and seems to be distorted, mangled. There is a shadow, but it's um, been made to look totally like just a rough rock feature that's reflecting light. And that is interesting, why that should happen. So I'll go to the next picture of that as well. See what I mean? It's been censored very heavily to make it look like rough rock formation. So I'll actually enlarge that. It doesn't look anything like that previous picture, correct? And that's the reflection in the visor. It shows the astronaut obviously standing there. Not much of a form, but I'm quite happy with that one. Let's go back to the original ones now that we had before, and that was like, wow. Look at that. Look at the difference. Look at the difference of what's happened in that photo. And the clearest obviously was this one here. Look what's been done to that photo. Isn't that amazing? That clearly showed some sort of life form or something coming out of there with its own shadow. It's been totally mangled. Just take a closer look at that. And I think we had one more, which is even a closer shot that I took. That one there. That's the good one. Look at that. That shows you something of a definite form. It's got little black things like praying mantis eyes. Now, either it's a growth, but we had one picture of the object coming about here, then it went up further in the other picture. And now we'll go back to the one of which I've classified Charlie Duke object. And look at that picture there, folks. Look at it. That's been censored heavily. It doesn't look like any living object on that photo, because that photo was actually enlarged on Wikipedia. There we go. There's proof of censorship, I think. Obviously, it's a very wise move on their part, but look at that. Look at the difference of what we have. Again, compare that to the image there, which you can just see it coming up and you see the head of it, and now compare it to what really pops up. Look at that. Could there be an aberration? I'm just thinking, is it possible any way that my camera could take a different image of the same thing? And it's an aberration. It's beyond me. This photo looks clearer. In the last one we saw, we didn't see the whole reflection of the other astronaut in the visor. There is very clear. But obviously that doesn't explain then what's the white light there. Is that a flash? Is it possible we have an aberration to produce that, and yet on the other image it's got a perfectly clear head and shadow and everything? That's amazing, isn't it? So I'll quickly jump to the other image now. And keep an eye on obviously the helmet reflection as well, because there is an astronaut very clear standing. Somehow his legs are too thin there, because and his legs seem apart. See what I mean? That's not him, obviously. That's the other person taking his picture. That's his reflection. And there's a bright light in the background of that picture of that person taking the picture. Okay, let's pause it and go on the other picture. This seems to be more lifelike. There's more color in it. Here we don't see any shadow that resembles a human standing there. We don't see the leg structures or anything. It's more smoothed over, the images, but this thing just looks so clear there in the image. And it's got a definite body, a white head, and a shadow. But in the other one, we don't have that same sort of detail. So that's why I'm totally surprised about what's happening in two different photos of the same scene. I hope someone can leave comments. I'll just pause it now and try to take a photo of the helmet visor. Well, have one more look at the object there. There it is. It's a definite thing coming out of the ground of its own. A shadow that's thrown that way. It's bizarre, isn't it? Whilst the astronaut throws a shadow forward. So that shadow of that object should be coming up more forward this way. You got me on that one as well. That shadow there is going that way. That object there produces a shadow going that way. So obviously the light is right in the center there somewhere. But our problem is, okay, yeah, it could be sideways. So if it's a central light, that would go that way to the right, and this would go to the left. Okay. Obviously it's there, it's coming up. So yeah, we'll just analyze those other photos I took. Again, can quickly compare that to the shot we have in Wikipedia there. We see a clear person standing. The legs look too thin there to be an astronaut somehow. The astronauts have these thick suits on them, and they're a big rounded mass. And this guy looks pretty thin there standing. And he's obviously brought his arm up there as well. I don't know, that's one discrepancy. I don't try to look for discrepancies, it's just that by accident I go back and there it is. That's got nothing similar to what we saw at all in the form of shadows or what's coming out, but it shows you something seems to be coming out of there, and I think they've even photoshopped this image so it's cut and pasted and it looks totally rough, and nothing's meant to be looking as though it's an object coming out of that hole there. But all the other images are very clear on this one. It seems to be clearer than the other ones. That's what now perplexes me. I don't know what to say about that image. It's very bizarre. Let's go analyze the newer photos. Well, here are the objects from that recent one, and again we see it's very clear. It's coming up. The center is like could be like one big dark object in the center, like a central eye or something, but that's probably a clearer picture there. It does show a definite thing coming up. We'll try to do some exposure color. The other picture I had was obviously a better one. See what I mean? There's the shadow, there's the object coming up, and all of a sudden it's been chopped up in the other image. There it is there. I'm very surprised with these findings as well. That's probably the best image of it we've got. There's a definite shadow, it's coming up, it's got a white head, and it's got that darker area in the front. So that's been totally mangled in the other picture. There's no way that's just a photo aberration that's accidentally popping up on the computer, because here we've got definite colors. There's no way all that mangled picture could possibly reform to produce that picture there. Let's go back to the mangled picture again, okay? Just to make it clear in your mind. That's it there. definite shadow, everything. And we'll go back to Charlie Duke object and look at that picture there. Look at that. There's no way that could be accidentally reformed by one more pixel of film a few milliseconds later to look like what we have, which is a definite structure. Okay, I'll have to let you all make up your own minds about that one.